Hey guys, it is Casey Santana back with my podcast, and it's been about 6 months. I know, oh my gosh, 6 months since I've been on here, but things have been crazy, and I thought this was a perfect time to do an update video. So here we are, and we're going to dive into what's been happening in the past 6 months. All right. So in the past 6 months, let's see. So last episode probably was recorded in October. And since October, I found out I'm expecting. So the roller coaster has begun. We actually found out in September, and that was shortly after a Hall of Flowers event. Hall of Flowers is a trade show, and it's a 2-day show, and usually it's a B2B vibe the first day, and then the second day they open it to the public. So if you were able to get out to the Santa Rosa Fairgrounds, that's where you were able to experience it. And it's basically around the cannabis community, anything around the holistic side of things when it comes to medicine. I wrote some things down because currently mom brain is fully in activation. Bear with me. I am 33 weeks and 5 days today. 4 days today. So about to step into my 34 weeks, and I run out of breath really quickly when it comes to talking. So first want to thank everybody that has subscribed to my channel and has enjoyed some of the videos and interviews I've had in the past year for the cannabis industry. And so this is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to kind of dive into just basically the update of what I've been up to in the past 6 months and kind of lean in on my mom deals. So if that's not for you, you may want to skip this episode. But if it is, or maybe it's something that you think will help somebody get through their journey, please feel free to share and comment below. So, okay, I wrote some notes down so I'm not all over the place. Found out I was expecting the week of my birthday. That was September 27th, and I'm turning 39. So it was a big shocker. I was honestly thinking I was going to jump into the 40s with a new season. The kids were wearing diapers, kind of got over that stage, and I just felt like, okay, we're moving on forward, and baby season, baby vibes are completely out the door, and we're in toddler phase, kind of a little bit older than that. But no, God has different plans for me, and I accept those willingly. I know that it's a bit of a challenge for some women, so I do think of it as a gift, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to experience this once again. My body has gone through this twice already, and so I'm hoping the third time my body knows exactly what to do and when to do it, and just kind of leaning in on all those things. When I found out in September, Hall of Flowers had already happened, so it was like a week after that. And from there, I basically um, decided I could do one more event that's in the industry, and that was MJ BizCon. I was part of their content creator team this year, which was new. They gave me an assignment as far as what to cover. Unfortunately, I didn't have an extra cameraman, and so I did my best to cover that. Um, and then that was pretty much it. We had a group of people that I work with. We hosted another event at the Cosmopolitan and kind of just did our own thing there. And then the next day, because I did go 2 days this time around, the next day I just kind of went and supported the local events that were happening, and then met up with a bunch of people at the Cosmo Lounge, had an amazing dinner with some friends, and just got to catch up. And that was pretty much it. After that, it was all holiday vibes. So that was, so we had Thanksgiving. So starting out September, we had Thanksgiving, and then I went out it was on the week of my daughter's birthday, which is December 2nd. and they usually do December 2nd through the 5th. I went for the 2 days, came right back, and then Christmas came, and then the New Year came, and so that just kinda kept things going. I kept telling myself, "I gotta get on here, I gotta get on here." I remember recording a video, but I felt like I was kind of all over the place. I don't know if that was my mom brain, but I felt like I was all over the place, so I never posted it. So here we are 6 months later. So now I'm about 33 and a half weeks. I think this Wednesday I will be 34 weeks, which means I'm basically 4 weeks away from the actual due date. For some reason, I feel like he's gonna come early, but who knows? Just kinda going with the flow. My daughter was on time. My son so I had my daughter 2020, COVID baby, as they would say. I had my son in 2018, him being my first. I don't think my body knew what to do. I also ate like shit and just had the works. It was like a week in the hospital, and I think I went in on I know I went in on a Monday, and I ended up leaving on a Friday, and so that was a little bit traumatic, and I'll get into birth stories maybe in a different episode, but, my second baby, she came right on her due date, so I'm hoping the same will happen for baby 3. We never know. I have no idea. But I'm super preggo and feel good for the most part. I've been able to stay up on my nutrition and stay up on my workouts. And when I say workouts, I am still weight training like I was prior to my pregnancy. So I didn't really change much of my routine. I will say I've gone cold turkey as far as consumption of any sort of caffeine. So I gave up coffee this time around, and we'll talk about all the things that I've changed from my first pregnancy and my second pregnancy to now. But I decided to not drink coffee, even though they do allow about 250 milligrams of caffeine. And that's because I didn't want to. Prior to me getting pregnant, I stopped drinking coffee first thing in the morning, so that also changed. My morning routine kinda changed as far as consumption of coffee, and we'll dive into that when I do, like, a nutrition video, but yeah, so no coffee, no pre-workout. I'm like, "Who am I?" But anyways, okay, so with baby 3, I will say that, I'm excited. We are having a boy, and it's funny because I feel like when you have had at least 1 or 2 babies, you kinda already know prior to finding out, and so I think I was 8 weeks, and I was like, "We're having a boy," and he's like, "How do you know you're having a boy?" And I had told my husband it's the cravings. The cravings with my first son were always something savory, like tacos and burgers, and I mean, like, uncontrollable cravings for shit like that. Like, I wanted a steak first thing in the morning. With my daughter, it was sweets, desserts all day long, and because I'm Filipino, I love halo-halo, anything that's ube flavor, and I remember constantly making it like a every weekend thing to where I'd go down to this shop that had halo-halo, and you'll have to look it up. Maybe I'll put, like, a little picture of it somewhere in here so you can check it out, what halo-halo is, but it is something that is mixed with, like, jello JoJo beans? I don't know, you'll have to see it, but anyways, ube everything, pastries, anything in that realm was my jam with her, so I knew that when I was craving steaks first thing in the morning, that was a boy, and I was right. We found out, I think, on my 16th week, give or take. Let's see what else. So with this particular pregnancy, I decided to not have a baby shower. There was just so many different things that are going on currently because I'm still working. I do work from home, so thankfully I'm able to stay home with the kids and not send them off anywhere because we do homeschool them. And just be in a better environment than having to be at work. With my first son, I was still working at the bank, and that environment was shitty and was a little bit stressful. I do remember that. I think all of that plays into your pregnancy journey and experience, whether that's during pregnancy and after. And so I just felt like I was grateful for being able to still be working from home, I should say. Okay, so no baby shower this time around. I just didn't feel the need to entertain. I honestly was been really tired. I feel like there's a lot of things in the house that I need to get put together as far as trying to figure out our room situation. As you guys know, I do my podcasting from home, and so I can't really take down the studio. So right now we have two other spare bedrooms. We have a 3-bedroom, and so we're debating on either upgrading the house or just trying to figure out things because the baby's going to be with me anyways for the most part. I never I want to say maybe for the first 3 months, maybe even 6 months, each baby was sleeping right next to me, and so I don't plan to do anything different there. But yeah, no baby shower was really needed. We have excuse me, we have so many different things that we still can reuse for baby 3. I know that sounds weird. I told my husband the other day that I feel like we didn't get rid of it, and so that was, like, opening the energy of, like, "Oh, let's open up maybe another baby," but anyways, yeah, so there's a couple things that we got. We just had to get a new car seat because that definitely the infant car seat was gone, long gone. Um, Funny, we also got a new car. It's like, we have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, so they're in their car seats still, but our SUV only can fit the 2 car seats, and then obviously me and the friend, and me and dad in the front, and, we thought about it and we're like, "Shit, we need a new car." So we actually just got a new car about maybe 2 weeks ago, and we got a Hyundai Palisade, which I fucking love. It is so, so comfortable. It's way bigger, but, we played around. We checked the Chevy Traverse, and we checked, I believe, the Kia Telluride, and out of all of them, we felt like this one was the best as far as percent or interest rate and for pricing. And so, yeah, now we have a 3-row SUV. I've always been the type to be like, no minivans. Although I will say, I told my husband this time around, I was like, I don't care if we got a minivan. Honestly, whatever is easier to get the kiddos in and out is where it's at. And I think if you're mom, you could totally relate to that. So new car, got the baby's car seat, things that we would need to make sure that if I go into labor, that we can take the baby back home because that's pretty much the necessities that we would need. So I've already started building out my hospital bag and my diaper caddy and postpartum items to help recover. But I'm hoping for another vaginal labor. Both my babies prior to that were vaginal, so I'm hoping for the same thing, which helps with recovery so much quicker. My heart goes out to all the women that have had C-sections. I know a lot of people think that's the easy way out, but a lot of times some of it is emergency, like something that they had to do in an emergency due to some sort of complication or whatever the case may be. And that recovery is a little bit longer, I believe. I think for vaginal, it's 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. I can't remember. But anyways, and for cesarean, it's 12 weeks, and that depends on the recovery. And I know that alone, just having to get up and get down, even holding the baby can be a hard thing. And so my heart goes out to those who've had C-sections, and I'm hoping I don't have to do that. But again, I always say our birth plan is one thing, and what happens the days of is a whole different ballgame. And I learned that from my first son. So, okay, at this point in time, I'm 33 and a half weeks. We are doing our best to stay on top of figuring out our homeschooling deals. Currently, right now, it's all new to us. We just started doing homeschool, I want to say it's been almost a year since we've taken it on. My daughter's just turned 4, so she's starting to do all her book work, and she's a chatterbox, and so she is just I feel like if she were to go to school, she'd be on an Excel program. My son is nonverbal, so the way he learns is a little bit different. He is high functioning, but he definitely doesn't want to sit down and paint versus my daughter, which will love to sit there and just paint, whether that's painting on paper, painting seashells, or just painting some sort of item. My son is definitely a little wild child that loves to be outdoor. I can't blame him. I think most boys are set to be that way naturally. It's like their primal instincts to love rocks and dirt and mud and twigs and grass and just be outside, and he'll be completely happy. And so their learning style is a little bit different, thankfully, because I do still do a lot of remote work. My husband has been a trooper in taking that on and trying to figure out a rhythm with things and figuring out what works best for them. And just seeing everybody in this dynamic in the household basically figure out what's best, is just a blessing. It's life and it's crazy, but we embrace every bit of it. And when if you guys are out there, I know if you're homeschooling, you're kind of in the same boat. I am thankful for some of the women that I've gotten a chance to talk to about homeschooling, because it does get, when you're first starting to do it, you're trying to figure out what is supposed to be done, what we have to do as far as living in the state that we're in, and I'm in California. But it gets a little bit overwhelming, and being able to hear, their stories or what they did or what they're doing is super helpful. I have one girlfriend particularly in the Orange County area that is really helpful with things like that, and so I want to give you a shout out. But okay, let's get back on track. So homeschooling has made it a little bit wild. I'm still working, work from home. Husband still works. Just kind of doing our regular routine. With me being pregnant, he is very supportive of me going to the gym still and kind of releasing whatever mood swing I may have, because his hormones are obviously crazy. So I will say that my husband has been a trooper with everything as far as taking on the homeschool routine and still working a full-time job and working nights and barely getting any sleep, just to, make my day a little bit easier. With that said, still very active with my weight training. Hydration has been super key for this particular pregnancy. I think this time around, I since my second child, because of my background in competition and in nutrition and weight training and just in the fitness industry, I've always tried to take in 1 gallon of water, if not more. And so I'm trying to stay on that same routine. But this time around, being pregnant, I did want to make sure that I was including electrolytes into my drinks, a lot of coconut water, not drinking or consuming very many like sodas. Not that I did, but if I would have, let's say we went out to eat, I would have like a Sprite, a zero sugar, or Diet Coke. I know they're not the best because of aspartame, but I pick my poisons. Yeah, just staying up on my hydration and just kind of making sure that I don't go to the gym less than 5 times a week. If I could do just 1 day off, I feel really good about it. Overall, I think it's helped me with my mood, my energy so far. All my appointments at the doctor have been really, really good. When they did the anatomy scan, everything was looking really good. They were very complimentary of the babies. It's funny when you go to those things, because half of the time I don't know what I'm looking at on the screen, but they're like, "Oh my god, look at this. Oh my god, this is so beautiful. This is so this is flowing so nicely," things like that. So I'm guessing that me staying active has really helped. In my previous appointment with my OB, actually not my OB, because they kind of rotate, and so you kind of see different people, at least the doctor's office that I go to, but sometimes they're just really cold and they're just like, check the heartbeat, No scans. I didn't want any scans, just check the heartbeat with, like, a little fetal monitor, and then, "Okay, we'll see you next appointment. Do you have any questions for us?" "Nope." Out the door. This particular doctor was like, "Oh my god, your belly's so cute. How are you feeling?" Before we even jumped into any sort of checking the heartbeat. And that was really nice because I feel like if you're gonna be in that field, especially dealing with pregnant women, you should be a little bit more sensitive to them and rather than just treating them like another number. But anyways, that's just me. But yeah, she said that, a lot of times she said, I could tell you've been very active. Your weight hasn't gone up since the last appointment, and that was over a month ago. And so that made me feel really good. I've been pretty steady. Usually they tell you not to gain anything more than 30 pounds, or it's ideal to gain about 30 pounds when you're expecting, nothing more and nothing less, which is crazy because everybody's body is different. So far, I've been able to stay within that range. I think the last time I checked, I was like about 160, which sounds weird because I'm only 5'3", maybe 5'4" on a good day. Um, but I originally walk around at 125, and so I've gained quite some quite some weight, I should say. And at this point, at 33 weeks, 33 and a half weeks, the baby is about 5 pounds almost, and so I'm really feeling the weight down there, I should say. Anyways, no consumption for those in the cannabis industry that are wondering. I decided not to consume this time around. Um, it was a choice that I decided to make, no particular reason why. I just didn't feel the need to do it. I know a lot of times there's questions around that, and there's many different platforms that you guys can go to lean in on that and read. But I really think that it causes more anxiety because obviously it's not federally legal. So even being in a state that it's legal in recreationally, I just don't want to deal with what you would have to go to or through in a hospital, especially if they decide to test for something like that. I will say that I am using topicals that are plant-based, I should say. And actually, I have one here that I wanted to mention to you guys. This is the Polar Gold Instant Relief CBD cream. It is 1,500 milligrams. I believe this is considered their extra strength. I don't know if they make one lower than this one, but between that one and the patches, I have to tell you guys, like, these are the best. You could put the patches anywhere on your body and they last up to 96 hours. So that's a good amount. These I will put on either my lower back or my left shoulder because from years of weight training and doing kickboxing and mixed martial art classes, I probably didn't recover correctly, or I have something torn there that now that I'm pregnant, I feel it more than ever, I should say. But this Japanese mint instant relief CBD cream, I live by. I will not travel anywhere without it. It is such a lifesaver. I love the smell of it, but I honestly feel like it helps me get better sleep. And so for those women that are pregnant that are looking for some sort of help with your sleep, because insomnia is real when you're pregnant, especially in the third trimester, check it out. Go to polargold.com. You should be able to find that. And I have a particular code for you guys that you guys can use. These are organically farmed, and usually you put it on 15 minutes is the full effect. And for me personally, I just put it everywhere. My back, my upper back, around my shoulders and my neck, my lower back, my hips, especially because in the third trimester, they highly advise that you sleep on your left side. And so, because I've known that for a while now, and that just is something that I've been doing probably since second trimester, it's supposed to be better for the baby as far as blood flow. And so, my entire left side aches for the most part, but check them out. and order some because it will save your life. But anyways, I put it all over, from my hips to my lower calves and towards my ankles, and I even put them in these areas and give myself a little massage and basically go to bed. So give it a shot, see what you think. It won't it won't disappoint, I promise. Let's see what else. Okay, so topicals have been my jam as far as just getting a little bit of relief in the areas that ache a little bit more than normal. Electrolytes, I'm using Relight, and usually when I go to the gym, I am making sure that my bottle has, or my water has, electrolytes in it, and then I'll bring either coconut water or just plain water, 2 bottles of water, and usually I will take those down the hour that I'm at the gym. The best thing about those is the increase of magnesium is so important for us to avoid the cramping. And if you're a mama out there and you actually have experienced the leg cramps, you know, you totally know the fucking trouble that brings. And so thankfully I've experienced one like Charlie horse evening. I have no idea. Maybe I ate bad that day, but I remember waking up and I stretched I extended my foot to go down, and I got a Charlie horse, and it was like the worst pain ever. But haven't had one since. So just kind of making sure that I do my bedtime yoga routine before bed and getting all my pelvic floor stretches before bed. And I feel like that makes a world of difference. I ordered my yoga ball, the big yoga ball, probably by second trimester, just to start getting some hip rotations. So this time around, obviously having 2 kids already, I kind of knew what I wanted and what I didn't want. And so I did my best to try to get those things in place. Um, Other than that, I pretty much have just been staying up on my gym 5 times at minimum, 6 times if possible. Because I still do a lot of work and I do 2 types of work. Usually I have a gig where I'm doing financial services, but I also do digital marketing, specifically around social media management, which includes graphic design. And so if I happen to have a very, very busy week, then those are the weeks that I may only get to the gym 5 times a week. But usually it's 6 times. My weight training changed a little bit as the belly got bigger. And basically, I'm still using weights, but I'm getting on machines that are assisted machines. Things like my kickboxing class, I cut off about 28 weeks just because the jumping and the belly getting bigger kind of restricted me from kicking and doing a lot of knees. So from there, I'm still doing my deadlifts, still doing leg presses, hamstring curls when it comes to leg day. I usually like to do splits, and basically that just means working out 2 muscle groups. And let's say, for example, I'm doing back. I will always do about four weight training exercises that target just my back area, whether that's my lats or my lower back. And then I'll add in 3 bicep movements, or I'll superset with a bicep movement. I'm not really cutting out any of the routines. Like, I'm still doing my chest and tricep workouts. I'm still doing legs and shoulders, back and biceps. What I have done differently is basically add in cardio in every session, where prior to that, if let's say I was doing, I would do 3 kickboxing classes, which I would exert anywhere from 500 to about 8, maybe 900 calories if I did that class, just because it's an hour long and it's high intensity workout. And obviously, depending on how much I push myself in those classes, I would only get on the stairs or the treadmill for cardio maybe once or twice a week. But this time, or now that I'm pregnant, I've decided to add in a 20-minute walk on every day that I go to the gym, and then if I happen to be doing leg day, nothing more than 15 minutes, and I don't normally do that on an incline. Any other day, it would be on an incline. That's pretty much it for my weightlifting. Pelvic floor stretches, I've had to look some of those up to figure out how to use that, or how to do those, and then getting some bands because I know when I am postpartum, I'm going to need to slowly get back into it. And usually weights are not the thing to go straight back into. So we're going to be using bands, just trying to figure out how to use that. And, obviously still doing my bedtime style yoga, and that's just basically a very light stretch, but it does help me get better sleep. And yeah, I think the nutrition has been a big play in this as well. Prior to finding out I was pregnant, I really took on the carnivore diet, and my body responds best to that. And I've known that since I did the bodybuilding competition back in 2015, 2017 for I competed for about 2 years, and then, after that, the nutrition that I learned from all of that really stuck to me, and both my husband and I are adamant about eating healthy. With my son being nonverbal and, being on the spectrum, it's something that you will have to dive into anyways because it's part of what helps them thrive, so we do our best to make sure he doesn't get or we don't carry or have food in the house that have dyes. We really stay away from anything that has seed or is made with seed oils. Thankfully, he loves grass-fed ground beef, and so we've been able to make. I'll make him into like a burger and then cut him up in fours for him so that he thinks they're like chicken nuggets. Every now and again, we will, grab them some fast food and we'll do our best to try to go to something not too crazy, but yeah, so we've kind of stuck to that, and this time around I've decided to stick to the diet and not change it. I came across a podcast, I think they were talking about how, when women become pregnant, they have this idea of we're eating for two. So it's totally okay to overconsume what we're eating, or take in more calories. And ideally, it's 350 calories more than your normal day to day prior to pregnancy. And that really should be just a meal. And so I've kept that in the back of my head, and just tried to make sure that I intake the same amount of protein, which usually is no less than 25 grams of protein per meal. Try to get at least 4 to 5 of those in. That can be also in a protein shake. And protein shakes, I will only do maybe once a day. And I don't normally suggest them because nothing is better than getting real nutrients from meats because they have the real amino acids, but we did purchase peptides to help with that. And so in the shake that I use, and I use First Form's chocolate milkshake flavor. I think it's chocolate flavor, but it's called chocolate milkshake. So I'll do 1 scoop of that, which is 25 grams of protein. I'll add 1 banana. I do it with coconut water, frozen blueberries, 1 cup of frozen blueberries, and then a scoop of the peptides that have like 17 different amino acid chain, in them, which also helps with like nails, hair. I can't remember the other one, but anyways, it's a peptide. And then we also decided to try Lineage, and Lineage has a protein that has colostrum in it. And so every now and again, I will dibble dabble into my husband's stash and put that into my shake. And so I'll probably get about 30 grams, maybe a little bit more than that, in my shake. And then I do a tablespoon of peanut butter, banana, peanut butter, frozen blueberries, coconut water, a scoop of First Forms chocolate, protein, and the peptides, and that usually keeps me pretty full. It makes almost a little bit over this cup, I should say, and I think this is like a 20-ounce shaker cup. But yeah, mainly just trying to stay on top of that, eating a lot of eggs. I know there's a lot of misunderstanding about eggs, but there's choline in eggs, and so that's really important during pregnancy. And I was looking at different prenatals because I found out that the prenatals that I was taking originally for baby 1 and 2 were absolute shit. Um, they just have they don't even have the things that we're supposed to take, and I can't remember what doctor I came across one of these podcasts that they were talking about the misconception or misunderstanding of what's supposed to be in actual prenatals that's beneficial to us, and half of the time they don't have those things, and so even folic acid is questionable, I guess. But they did have choline and eggs have choline, so I've been making sure that I get at least my breakfast done right, and that's anywhere from 3 to 4 eggs in one sitting. Ribeyes, my go-to, ground beef, grass-fed, everything's pasture raised. Never been a milk drinker, so staying away from dairy isn't very hard for me. But yeah, creatine is another thing that I decided to take during this pregnancy. 5 grams, and usually I take it right after my gym session. I'll either put it in coconut water, or if we have like a liquid death, something that has some sort of flavor, I'll mix a little bit of it with that. Not that it has any flavor, but I just prefer it in that mix, I should say. But lots of water, lots of electrolytes in my water to get magnesium in my body. And I think that has been the jam for me. And it's made my pregnancy this time around a lot easier on my body. I always tell my husband, I'm only like 5'3", and having to go through this and add so much weight to my body is really, really hard on me. So I don't want to do this again. This pregnancy has been pretty smooth, and I think it has a lot to do with the way I've taken care of myself, the way I eat, and just staying really active. I think being really active during pregnancy is something that most women need to consider if they plan on having a baby or if they are already expecting. It makes a world of a difference. It helps us get better sleep. Oh, excuse me. He must be agreeing. Let me tell you, they also say that if you do a lot of weightlifting during your pregnancy, your baby comes out with 2% more muscle mass. And so I'm excited to meet this little stud muffin. But yeah, that's kind of been my journey in the past 6 months, just been a working mom and just pregnant as hell, and trying to stay active and doing one thing at a time without being overwhelmed. I will say going to the gym for the hour, I come back such a better person. I feel like I accomplished a lot more, even though if I've done all the work that I was supposed to do, the gym vibes just make me feel a lot better. So staying active is super helpful during this time frame, and I think it is going to play a big role in my postpartum journey, which is a different story and a different episode. But I always say postpartum journey. I don't fall into the postpartum depression um, phrase it, because I really do believe if you speak that into the universe, then that's kind of like the mindset you kind of put yourself into. And so I try to just say, okay, I know that this is going to be part of my recovery and it's going to be challenging. I know I may be in pain some days, especially right after getting labor, and just hope, I get a safe, smooth labor, and transition into postpartum journey as best as I can. And the bounce back is really not anything I worry about. Like I said, I've done this twice already. I am pretty well rounded when it comes to nutrition and fitness and just weight training. And so it's just a matter of taking really slow and making sure that the workouts are appropriate for each season. And I know sometimes it can take a year, but I'm I'm truly just looking forward to meeting our new addition to the family, another boy. We've already got a name for him, and yeah, in 4 weeks he should be here. I think on my next episode, I will share with you guys basically probably what we got set for him as far as what we plan to have in the diaper caddy, what I'm going to put in my hospital bag, and what I've gotten so far for the postpartum recovery for our lady parts down there, I should say. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I really do appreciate everybody that has stayed with me throughout my podcast journey. I don't want to change the name of my podcast. It is, you are going to get a little bit of different content, but I feel like if, the personal branding that I've built on, I want to give to you guys as far as my day to day and what I'm about. And I think that just kind of falls into place. So if you guys have any questions for me, don't hesitate to reach out. You can DM us on Instagram at Chifa underscore ENT. You could also find my personal Instagram at K underscore Chifa. And yeah, if that doesn't work for you guys could always comment below on this particular episode, and we will make sure we answer those questions as best we can. Other than that, I am going to sign off for the rest of the day. I hope you guys are having an amazing, amazing first spring of 2025. Summer's like literally around the corner. And yeah, really appreciate you guys staying on here, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.